Colonial modernity ideas, ideology, and knowledge systems introduced during the colonial rule. It is argued by the some that Indian nationalism, the modern sense of political nation, did not exist prior to the establishment of the British rule in India. The idea of national unity developed due to the introduction of Western ideals and in opposition to common enemy, the imperial rulers. The term colonial modernity generally is the modern idea. So colonial modernity during the colonial rule. It is argued by some that Indian nationalism did not exist prior to establishment of the British rule in India. The concept of electoral representatives, free choice of peoples, individual rights and liberty, realized with the introduction of various charter acts during the British rule helped bring in forefront during the British rule issues of Indian under the British rule helped in the development of nationalism. Indian nationalism means elected representatives, free choice of people, individual rights and liberty realized with the introduction of various charter during the British rules helped bring in forefront the common issue of Indian under the British rule. Common issue helped the development of nationalism. Before the British rule, India was fragmented into different regional kingships. Though India were aware of a pre-existing sense of territoriality, vigorous consolidation of Indian territories by the East India Company consolidation, and later by the British government and the introduction of a harsh and revenue systems helped in the formation of nationalist ideas among the masses, including peasants and tribals who suffered due to the changes. For the first time, British subjects in India were treated under a single codified law. The British codified both the Hindu and Muslim laws for their administrative convenience. This gave Indian feeling of unity, especially when they struggle against the injustice of British rules through legal means. Due to exposure to modern education and new status group, the Western educated British subjects in India were treated under a single codified law, and the British codified both the Hindu and Muslim laws for their administrative convenience. British subjects in India were treated under the single codified law. The British codified both Hindu and Muslim laws for their administrative convenience. They gave Indian feelings of unity. Environmental Environmental surfaced in the form of many organized movements in post of independence. Environmental surface in the form of many organized. Environment movement in India emerged in 1970 and 1980 in the form of people response to threat to survival and to conserve vital natural resources like soil, water, and vegetation. 80 in a movement to threat to their survival response and to conserve vital natural resources like soil. Conserve vital natural resources like soil, water, and vegetation systems. We will conserve soil, water, vegetation. The evolution of environment was shaped by various factors and took prominence in form of organized movement in post-independent India explained, like in the West, where modern environment was conceptualized by scientists. In India, it began through the protest of rural communities. The modern India environment movement was born with Chipko movement in 1973. A group of women and peasants in a remote Himalaya village in Uttarakhand stopped a group of loggers from filling a patch Uttarakhand stopped a group of loggers from felling a patch of trees. Though not unique in its form, it arose out of the imperative human survivals. This was environmental movement by poor due to the concerns of social justice on the one hand and sustainability on the others. Following the Chipo movement, the tribals in the Chatnagur Plateau launched their own struggle in defense of local rights. In the upper west, also in Gandhavardhan in Odisha, tribals resisted the damage to their lifestyles and to local ecology by bauxite mining, launching the anti-Balco movement. Environmental movement by the poor due to the concern of social justice. Poor people's concerns of social justice on the one hand and sustainability on the other. In backdrop of development versus preserving the environment during the 1980 Narmada Bachcha Andolan analysis, Andolan demanded a proper cost-benefit analysis of major development projects in the country along with social cost to be calculated. Cost benefit analysis of major development. Environmentalism in India also strengthened due to the contribution of Indian scientists and the rise in public consciousness. Environmentalism led to meaningful discussion on sustainable development. For instance, the work of late A.K. and Reddy on sustainable energy strategy, Madhava Gadgil and Ashish Kothari, Article 48A Constitution was added by the 42nd Amendment. 1976 making environmental concerns a directive principle for the government. Various legislation like the Environment Protection Act 1986, the Forest Conservation Act 1980, the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981, 1976 making a environmental concerns directive principle for the government. Various legislation like the Environment Protection 1986, Forest Conservation Act 1980, Wildlife Protection Act 1972, Air Prevention and Control Pollution 1981. The above stated measures led to institutionalism in the form of a full-fledged ministry, environment and forest. The government followed by setting of environmental ministers of their own. The above stated measures led to institutionalism in the form of a full-fledged ministry, environment and forest. Recent times, growing global concern with the climate change combined with the concerns like reclaim the forest, drying, drying rivers, polluted cities, rising burden of untreated waste, dipping aquifers has brought the question of sustainable development back into the center stage. Development. Do you agree with the view that continental blockade was an ill-conceived strategy by Napoleon to conquer Britain through the economic means? The continental blockade was economic warfare measure adopted by Napoleon between 1806 Under this embargo on trade with Britain was imposed on the European nations, conquered nation as well as the allies. Under this embargo on trade with Britain was imposed on the European nations, conquered nation as well as allies, under his control to weaken the British economy. It was Bonaparte's plan to develop the economy of continental Europe, with France to be main beneficiary. The continental blockade was economic warfare measure adopted by Napoleon Bonaparte between 1806. Britain was imposed on the European nations, conquered nation as well as allies, under his control to weaken the British economy. It impacted the English industries and helped